Hey Reddit, I'm hoping you can offer some wisdom, or at least tell me I'm not completely losing my mind. My world got a serious shakeup a few days ago, and I've been a bundle of nerves ever since. My husband, Mark, 40M, and I, 38F, have been married for a wonderful 10 years, together for 13. We have what I've always considered a rock-solid relationship. We're best friends, we talk about everything, we trust each other implicitly, and we've built a lovely, quiet life with our 2 kids, 8 and 5, and our goofy golden retriever. He's a fantastic dad and a loving, attentive husband. The idea of serious trouble in paradise was honestly the furthest thing from my mind. Mark had a first love, let's call her Serena. They were high school sweethearts, the whole 9 yards, prom king and queen, inseparable. Everyone thought they'd get married. This was long before I came into the picture. He's told me about her, bits and pieces over the years, usually when we're reminiscing about our pasts. The story always ended the same. She broke his heart. Apparently, she didn't just break up with him. She went off with his then best friend right before they were supposed to go to the same college.
Double whammy.
He was, by his own admission, an absolute wreck for a good year. He's always spoken about it with a kind of distant sadness, but also with a clear, that was then, this is now, and I'm so much happier with you vibe. I've never ever felt threatened. Serena was a ghost, a chapter closed 2 decades ago, until last Tuesday. Mark came home from work looking off. Not upset, not angry, but like he'd seen a friendly ghost. He sat down on the sofa, fiddled with his phone, and then said, "You are not going to believe this." He showed me a Facebook message. It was from Serena. Now, neither Mark nor Serena are big social media people, so for her to reach out this way was already surprising. The message was a novel, but here's the condensed version. "Hi Mark, I know this is completely out of the blue, and it's been ages, but I was hoping you'd see this. I've been doing a lot of soul-searching lately, thinking about the past and people I've hurt. And honestly, Mark, you've been on my mind. I behaved appallingly when we were younger. I was selfish, immature, and I deeply regret the pain I caused you. There's no excuse for how I ended things. I've carried that guilt for a long time. I often wonder how life treated you, and I truly hope you're happy. If you're ever in town or open to it, I'd love to buy you a coffee, apologize in person, and maybe just reconnect a little. Strictly as old friends, of course. No pressure at all. I completely understand if not. Just wanted to finally say I'm sorry." My stomach did a little flip-flop, the kind you get on a roller coaster just before the big drop. Reconnect a little? What did that even mean? Mark looked at me, a bewildered expression on his face. 20 years, he said, shaking his head. 20 years. And then this.
What do you even make of that?
I tried to sound casual.
Wow.
That's a blast from the past, all right. What are you thinking? He ran a hand through his hair. I don't know. Part of me thinks, who cares, it was a lifetime ago. But another part, an apology? After all this time? It's kind of intriguing. Maybe it would be good to, hear it and officially close that door? And that, Reddit, is where my internal 5-alarm fire started. Close the door? I thought the door was concreted over and had a do not enter sign on it. Reconnect sounds a lot like trying to pry that door open with a crowbar. My mind started spinning out of control. Why now? One, is she lonely? Did her life not pan out? Maybe she saw Mark's profile. It's fairly public, with pictures of me, the kids, our family holidays, and thought, he looks happy. Maybe I can get a piece of that comfort back, or at least see if I can still make him look twice. 2, is it an ego trip? Does she want to see if she can still get under his skin even after all this time? To prove she still has some kind of hold. 3, the apology as an excuse? Is the apology genuine, or is it just the entry ticket to get back into his orbit? And what happens after reconnecting? Do they become pen pals? Regular coffee buddies?
My skin crawls at the thought that
4, the worst case scenario that keeps replaying in my head. She wants to stir something up. Maybe not even get him back, but just to disrupt our happiness because hers isn't what she hoped. I took a deep breath and told Mark, as calmly as I could, that the reconnect part made me deeply uncomfortable. I said, "Mark, an apology is one thing, but meeting up with her? After she devastated you? Why would you want to open that can of worms?" He was quiet for a moment, then nodded slowly. "Yeah, I see your point. It does feel a bit loaded. Maybe I'd just reply, apology accepted, hope you're doing well, and leave it at that?" Ignoring it feels a bit rude when she's offering an apology, however late. That sounded more reasonable, but a knot of dread stayed firmly lodged in my chest. Even a polite reply feels like an invitation for more. I trust Mark, I truly do. He's never given me a reason not to. But Serena isn't just an ex. She was the one for a significant period of his formative years. There's a power in first loves, a nostalgia that can be potent. What if meeting her, even for a closure coffee, reawakens something in him? What if she still is captivating as he remembers, and I suddenly feel inadequate? I haven't slept properly since. I keep replaying scenarios, imagining her, imagining them talking. Am I being a jealous, insecure wife? Or is my intuition screaming a valid warning? What if she is just being sincere? But why then the reconnect part? It feels like a hooked up. So, Reddit, what do we do? Does he reply? If so, what's the absolute safest, most boundary-setting way? Or should he just ignore it and let sleeping dogs lie, even if it feels a bit impolite? I feel like I'm walking a tightrope. Update 1. Wow. Thank you all so much for the overwhelming response and the fantastic advice. It's been incredibly helpful to hear so many different perspectives and honestly, just to feel validated in my anxiety. So many of you echoed my concerns about the reconnect phrasing, which made me feel less like I was making a mountain out of a molehill. After reading through a ton of your comments with Mark, yes, he read them too, we had another long talk. He admitted that while a small, curious part of him was interested in the closure aspect, my feelings and the security of our marriage are, of course, paramount. He saw how much this was affecting me. Many of you pointed out that true closure comes from within, not from an old flame reappearing. And he agreed. He also acknowledged that even if Serena's intentions were pure, which we're both skeptical about now, thanks to your insights on common patterns, inviting that energy into our lives just isn't worth the potential upset. So, here's what we decided. Mark crafted a very brief, polite reply. It basically said, "Hi Serena, message received. I appreciate you reaching out after all this time, and I accept your apology. I wish you all the best. Mark." No questions about her, no opening for further conversation, no mention of meeting, just a clean, simple acknowledgement and closure of the topic from his end. He sent it. We both held our breath. She replied within an hour. Her message, "Thanks so much for replying, Mark. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. If you ever change your mind about that coffee, the offer still stands. Would be lovely to hear about your life. Either way, glad we could exchange a few words." My heart sank again. She's persistent. If you ever change your mind, and would be lovely to hear about your life, still feels like she's leaving the door wedged open with her foot. Mark, to his credit, looked at her reply and said, "Okay, nope. That's it. No more replies from me. We said what needed to be said." He then, without me even asking, blocked her on Facebook. He said, if her apology was genuine, she got it accepted. If she wanted more, this makes it clear it's not happening. I felt a huge wave of relief, but there's still a tiny, niggling voice in the back of my head wondering if this is truly the end of it. She knows where he works. It's a fairly prominent local company, easily searchable. But for now, I'm choosing to trust that this is it. Mark has been amazing, reassuring, understanding, and firm in his actions. Thank you again, Reddit. You helped us navigate a tricky situation with a lot more clarity. I'll update if, heaven forbid, anything else happens, but fingers crossed this is the end of the Serena mess. Update 2. Well, Reddit, I wish I was writing this update under better circumstances, or rather, not writing one at all. Just when I thought the Serena situation was neatly tied up and put away, it reared its head again, and in a way that truly chills me. About a week after Mark blocked Serena on Facebook, he came home from work looking pale and seriously annoyed. My stomach immediately clenched. "What's wrong?" I asked. He dropped his briefcase and said, "You are not going to believe this. Serena, she was at my office." I think my jaw literally dropped.
What? How?
Why? Mark explained that as he was leaving his building to go to lunch, he saw a woman standing near the main entrance who looked vaguely familiar. As he got closer, she smiled and said, "Mark, it is you." It was Serena. Apparently, she launched into this breezy, "Oh, I was just in the neighborhood for an appointment and thought, what are the chances Mark still works here? I know you blocked me on Facebook and I totally get it, no hard feelings, but I really did just want to apologize in person and since I was right here." Mark said he was so blindsided he barely knew what to say. He told me he kept it very brief, said something like, "Serena, this is inappropriate. I accepted your apology online. There's nothing more to discuss." He said she looked a bit crestfallen but then brightened up and said, "Oh, okay. Well, it was still good to see you for a second. You look great. Tell your wife I say hi." And then she kind of just waved and walked off. Tell your wife I say hi. The audacity. That felt like such a power move, a way to let me know she'd breached our defenses. Mark was furious, not at me but at her. He said, "She's not respecting boundaries." First, the insistent messaging. Now this? It's too much. He was also worried about me and how I'd react, which I appreciate. Honestly, Reddit, I was shaken. This felt like it crossed a line from awkward ex reaching out to potentially unstable person with an agenda. Showing up at his workplace? That's not normal behavior for a simple, sincere apology after 20 years. We talked for a long time that night. Mark felt terrible that this was continuing. He assured me again that he has zero interest in her, and her behavior was actually making him remember all the negative aspects of their breakup rather than any lingering nostalgia. He even said, "I think I dodged a bullet back then, and I'm just realizing it now." That actually made me feel a bit better. He proactively called the security desk at his office the next morning, gave them her name and a general description, and said if she shows up again, she's not to be allowed up and he's to be notified. He's also varying his lunch routine and using a different exit from the building for a while. I am still pretty creeped out. Her actions seem less about a simple apology and more about, I don't even know what, forcing her way back into his life, proving she can get to him. It's unsettling. For now, things are quiet again. But that "tell your wife I say hi" is ringing in my ears. I'm hoping this escalation was her grand finale and she'll finally disappear. Mark has been incredibly supportive and proactive in shutting this down, which makes all the difference. But wow, some people really don't know when to quit. Thanks for letting me vent again. This has been such a strange and unsettling experience. Final update. Hello again, Reddit. It's been a few months now, and I'm incredibly relieved and happy to report that the Serena saga seems to have finally, truly, come to an end. After her bizarre appearance at Mark's office, there has been nothing. Absolute radio silenced. The measures Mark took at his workplace seemed to have been effective, or perhaps she finally got the message that her attempts at reconnecting were not welcome and, frankly, were becoming alarming. We don't know for sure, and honestly, we don't care what her reasoning was, as long as she stays away. The weeks immediately following the office incident were a bit tense. I'll admit, I was jumpy. Every time Mark's phone buzzed with an unknown number, or he was a little late from work, my mind would go there. But Mark was a rock. He was more communicative than ever, constantly reassuring me, and showing in countless small ways that our family and our marriage were his absolute priority. His own annoyance and bewilderment at Serena's actions actually helped me a lot. It wasn't just me seeing her behavior as out of line. He saw it even more clearly. Interestingly, this whole ordeal, as stressful as it was, ended up strengthening our marriage. It forced us to have some very open conversations, reaffirm our commitment, and face an external weirdness together. Mark says the whole thing made him appreciate the peace, stability, and genuine love we have even more, especially when contrasted with the drama Serena seemed to be trying to inject. He even joked that he should send her a thank you note for reminding him how good he has it. He didn't, obviously. I've also learned a lot about my own resilience and the importance of trusting my gut. My initial discomfort with her message was valid, even if I doubted myself at first. So, for anyone else who might find themselves in a similar situation, 1. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is that. 2. Communicate openly with your partner. Make sure you're on the same page. 3. Set firm boundaries. And don't be afraid to reinforce them if they're crossed. A simple no, thank you, or even no response at all is perfectly acceptable. You don't owe anyone a rekindled friendship, especially if their past behavior was hurtful. 4. Block, block, block. If they persist, remove their access to you. Thank you all again for your support and advice through this unexpected drama. You were a real lifeline. Here's to peace, quiet, and exes staying firmly in the past where they belong. Life is back to its happy, chaotic normal with the kids and the dog, and Serena is once again just a name from a bygone era, and hopefully, this time for good.